And you spoke about living on Mars, and
Yeah.
I can assume being a 9-year-old, you had your family around you. I mean, you live with them, and that's your core support system right there. But and I can also assume that you had so many people reaching out. Your mom was so young and such an amazing person. And likewise, I mean, we had a lot of people reaching out to us and really, really beautiful text messages and conversations on the phone. But I felt really guilty for, I guess, not enjoying some of the conversations I was having because people were trying their best to, and I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that they were trying their best, but I did kind of feel like I was on Mars. Like there was a little bit of a disconnect with people who hadn't had situations like mine.
Yeah, I agree.
Like they would compare it to something else,
losing someone else, or just it just.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes you can really get something if you've gone through it.
Yeah.
And that's the truly beautiful thing about Empower Her. And
that's what it was. I mean, I agree with you that was my experience. It was like, but I don't want anyone to interpret that as like, oh, that means like don't say anything, right?
Exactly.
We want people to say like, I'm sorry.
No matter
like,
what
tilt
anyone
their head.
said, like I appreciated it
Exactly.
like to the fullest. But as far as like keeping a conversation going and something that's actually going to like be significant in my journey to like recovery or grieving, I really
I felt like I needed to talk to somebody who
had been through what we'd been through.
who had made it out on the other side.
Right. Well, and that's what this mentor program was in my head. I wanted it to be a stranger. I wanted it to be somebody that wasn't grieving. And I love that, like in the documentary, like Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
Love Uncle Joe.
We
have a million Uncle Joes, thank God. And that taught me empathy. You know, like my mom died and my town was amazing. Like my mom's family and friends were amazing. Like I had my prom dress covered. Like I had, they always came to my rescue. I was like marinated in love. That's what my mom asked of her family and friends. And that's brave of them to do it. But they were busy people giving up their time. So that is why I started Empower. I was like, I'm grateful for that. So I have to pay this forward now for girls who don't have that. But yeah, I want the conversation. I didn't want someone whispering behind my back, but kids have no tools either. Like I didn't put out a vibe like, oh, I want to sit here and talk with my teacher about this. But if my teacher was someone whose mom died when she was little, my God, I would have loved that. Yeah. Like that conversation could have gone on forever, you know, because we had a really, really funny night. We had a cocktail party because, again, just running a nonprofit, you just have cocktail parties and more cocktail parties than you do, you know, and the charity runners programs. There's so many like ways that you can fundraise and get more and more people involved. So we had a party here in Hollywood Hills, actually, when we were opening up our chapter for California. And one of our friends, Alex, she's amazing. And she, you know, was like in her 30s. Her mom died when she was 13. Same story, never talked about it. Never really grieved until she left the home. And so she hosted a party and said, I want to help fundraise. I want to get this chapter open for girls in California. And so we were at her friend Bonnie's house, and she said, oh, do you mind? I'm going to introduce you to all my friends and family. So Anne Marie and I are like, yeah. You know, you speak. It's your story. It's not our story, right? We speak enough about this. And so she like brought us up to introduce us, and she was like, oh my God, everybody. This is Anne Marie and Kara. They're aliens from my planet.
Oh.
And we were like,
yes! We're all aliens. I get it.
Yes. Where were you? Yeah. You know, like I wanted to, I lived on that planet. Even in my house, I feel like my dad is amazing. My brother's amazing. You know, like loving dad, protective big brother. But it's like we all lived on like the same solar system, but like on 3 different planets. Because my dad was grieving his wife and trying to raise 2 children. And my brother was 13 grieving his mom, but trying to be a boy in that like never cries and just like picks himself up by his bootstraps and moves on. And I was just trying to be the little sad girl with pigtails that everyone was like, you know, trying to take me shopping. And I appreciate that, but there just was no conversation about like this horrible thing that just happened. We just kind of pretended it didn't.
As a young woman, you need a woman to look up to at times. There's some things that you just don't feel comfortable telling a man. Yeah. I've gotten into situations where I'm like, I don't think I can talk to my mom about this. Like I need to talk to my dad about this. Yeah. I can't talk to Grayson about this because he's equally as confused about this as I am.
Yeah, exactly.